Today we are having a new topic in relation to creating resourceful social networks. As we've been telling you, we have a number of topics that we'll be sharing with you. And now please do not forget to follow us, subscribe, like, comment. Here with me I have people that are really going to talk to you, experts in the areas of social networks. And please remember that this program today is sponsored by Chukuku, located in Impiji Nachirewe, St. Daniela Educational Services, Seven Hub Enterprises. Today we are going to talk about the impact of social network in our way of doing things, and please stay tuned about social media. You've moved all around the world, within and outside Uganda. You've been able to market most of your products using social media. Even Kuchu, an enterprising young lady here, she has been part of this, and therefore she has a lot to share with us. How best can we use social media resourcefully so that the viewers out there can understand?
I don't really know what social networks are. You know, we hear social media, everyone knows social media, but now we are going to specifically talk about social networks. And when we talk about social networks, people listening out there, we are talking about these contacts, the contacts that we create when we meet people, those contacts that you make. How are you going to create resourceful social contacts? So I know the people with me today in this show are going to give us a very detailed explanation of how to create and maintain our social networks. But I'll begin by saying that in order for you to create a resourceful social network, you need to set goals. What do you identify it yourself, for example, as the first thing? Because you know what you want to do. If you want to tailor, for example, to engage in tailoring, that is your desire and interest. Now, for you to create your social networks, you have to know who is engaged in tailoring. Now, you set your goals. For example, you want to learn new fashions. How do you go out there, and who do you go out to learn these new fashions? So when you set your goals and go out there, you know where to go. I'll give you an example. The other way, actually, of ensuring that you meet your goals is by attending events. Yeah? All of us have attended events. I think you can share with our viewers, when you go to events, what is a person expected to do? Are they supposed to just go and eat, have fun, and smile, and go away?
Of course not. Of course, when you go for events, there are certain things you look out for, especially if, for instance, if it's a wedding. First and foremost, there are those eye-catching things that will really you have to look out for. Is it the music? Mm-hmm. Then if it's the music, then you'll see what kind of system is it that they are using, the sound and all that. But then if it is maybe the cake, I'm attracted to maybe baking, like the way Lien's Bakery is. The first thing I'll look at is how is the cake, who really made this cake, how does it taste. Like you find out that Kuchu here is good at maybe meals and preparing, then she'll be able to taste the chicken. Exactly. And she's like, really? How was this prepared? Then she will definitely have to identify maybe those that are in the catering services, so that she can be able to create a network, create the friendship, to identify who is in the catering section, so that later she can be able to understand them and maybe find out if they can be able to buy her chicken, and such things. So basically, then we can be able to take the contacts. Of course, you realize that such people have maybe they already on Instagram, on maybe WhatsApp. Then you'll be able to follow it up from there.
But then I think in Uganda, where we are, we people usually don't create time for the networks. Like, we do not create time for social networks. But I think we should really go into it now. Like, we should systematically create time for networks. Sometimes you can be there on a weekend and you're idle, you're not doing so much. The best you can do is maybe invite someone for a coffee date, you know. Get time, like create time to meet various people, because at the end of the day, in everything we do, we are going to need them in one way or the other. So at the end of the day still, if I have managed to create some time off my busy schedule to like get to know people, relate with them, I feel it creates some mood and positivity in everything we do. So
Also, I think to add on to your point, yeah, when you create that time off and go out there and create your social networks, I think it is also a good idea, for example, to share your contacts, fix appointments. Actually, if you have business cards, like if you're baking in the Ends Bakery, you don't have the money to go out there on TV stations and radio stations and advertise yourself. So when you meet people like at the function, all at those gatherings that you go out to, share your cards and ask that person also who you think is going to be resourceful to you. For example, there might be a supplier of a product that you want. Ask them for cards and also give them your cards. And in addition to that, you can fix appointments. Maybe, Kuchu, you can expound on fixing appointments.
well, fixing appointments, not necessarily, they shouldn't necessarily be in bars or in those other places that are not so compatible to all crowds. But then we should adopt to a system where you create professional appointments, somehow professional appointments. Invite someone to lunch, get to know them, introduce yourself to them, tell them what you do. You know, you can always invite people to, maybe there are usually these trips people make of groups of like 5 to 10. You know, organize such a thing, get to know each other, get to know what each of you does. I feel there you get to interact more.
And in addition to that, it is important that, of course, by the time we attend certain functions or meetings and we meet new people, you realize that already you have a list of contacts. So it is important that when you're done with that meeting and you've met a number of people, it's important that we update our contact list, so that you do not have to meet the person after maybe 2-3 months, and even for them they may remember you, but then you may have forgotten them, and remembering that you may realize that you needed this person at a certain point in time, but just because maybe if they gave you their card, you just it was misplaced in one way or another, or you may find that you may need them in an engagement, let it be official or in any formal maybe sector, and you need to contact them, then you find it difficult again to locate such people. So it is important that we keep our networks and we update them, so that, and also having to
reach out to
continuously call them responsibly, especially, of course, with the contacts we have. It's not that you have to keep calling someone over and over, you're nagging.
But then Lillian, let me interrupt you a bit. Yes. You know, there are these people who always call you like every after 30 minutes. Someone is called, hello, it's Kuchu. Hello. You know, it gets really so annoying. How would you go about that?
Yes. Maybe Daisy can also add on
Now,
that.
when you meet someone and you think they are going to be relevant to you, and you find them as a relevant social network, and you want to interact them but without annoying them, the best way to do is actually get their contacts. Send them a brief email. You know, people don't have time to read a lot, yeah? If you have their telephone contact, like here in Uganda, most people are very, they find telephone contact as the most efficient and easiest way of communicating to people other than emails. Give them a call and actually fix that appointment, yeah? Have something to tell them. Don't just call them for the sake of just saying, I was just calling you to say hi, you know? Call them with a purpose. For example, I want to meet you and address you, or I'm seeking an appointment, I want you to address me on a certain issue. Don't just like call and say, you see, I met you the other time, and anyway, I don't know if you have anything for me, because you're the one calling the person. You see, it nags, and those people are usually busy. Yeah.
And of course, in addition to that, the aspect of time, you know, you've met this person, but you just call anyhow, you know, even at midnight, you're calling someone responsible, but saying nothing. Even text messages, even maybe WhatsApp, you're just clogging someone, even if it's an email, you know. And you like with WhatsApp, there are a number of social groups, and actually that's why most people do not want to join a number of groups, because some of them at the end of the day they realize that there is really nothing much they are benefiting. But it is important that at least we use this social networking resourcefully, so that really everyone benefits in one way or another.
I think the other way of creating resourceful networks also is through joining alumni and associations or groups associated to religious groups, yeah? Maybe Lillian, you can elaborate that more.
Of course, as we grow up, this one I can actually link it right from maybe where we stay in our communities, you know. Of course, you begin with the people you know, the people that are around you, that will lead you to know one or two more friends. It can be right from home, the family, the visitors we receive at home, then the community people, if we are engaged in community works. Of course, then it will lead you maybe to church, you know. Then, of course, in school, the people that you find that in the communities where we stay, there is one or two people that really maybe studied in the same schools, or one of the sisters or relatives in your family has maybe studies with someone still on the same village or somewhere somehow. And of course, this builds up even as we continue to be engaged in different schools and institutions. And the same applies even when we go to work, whether you're in the formal sector or informal sector. So, and of course, these institutions that we join, you find that there are a number of maybe gatherings that require maybe the old girls, the alumni, and to still come and maybe meet, and maybe there are a number have built all the way, so that will help you maneuver through either getting a supplier, or you're a marketer, or you market your products, or they buy from you, or you even attain knowledge and skills. Someone will guide you if you want to go, maybe assuming I want to travel and I've never traveled. Through the social network, maybe given the conversations we have, you'll find that someone has traveled earlier or before you, and then you need to get some information on how best to do this. If it's getting a document, maybe passport or bank.
You know, sometimes viewers out there might be asking themselves, these people are telling us to get networks. Me, I was born in a family with only my dad and mom. I don't know anyone, I don't know where to start from. But do you know that even asking your own parents,
An outgoing person, fun character,
fun lover.
you know, I like to enjoy myself. So when they identified that, they're like, this lady here has to be our Nababulu. So they call me the events planner of the particular group. And amidst all that, like, I have learned how to deal with each and every one of them, you know. You could be there, this one maybe is going to fund the trip, this one is going to maybe provide the food, this one is going to maybe guide this, you know. At the end of the day, those networks I created helped me gain a position somewhere. And at the end of the day, these are the same people who are supporting my events. So still, I was lucky to find a network in school. I didn't just go to study, but also to create a network.
Okay.
Actually, I can also tell you that Chukuku is the lady behind the Lien's Bakery on Instagram. She really did a lot to make it the way it is really on Instagram. So without her, I think maybe Lien's Bakery would have been at some less percentage than what it is now, because of the social network.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're still watching the Sisters Empowerment Show. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment. And I think also something we have to tell people out there in creating social networks, it starts from home. We have to engage in these small community activities in our places of residence, because it is where you stay, and people will get to know you. Oh, Chuku supplies Chu Kuku. Lillian is the one who makes cakes. So when they have like events, they will come to you instead of jumping the queue and going out to someone else to actually give them that opportunity to supply, yet you're just there. Then other times, it is these people who are going to come and help you when you have problems. So it is important to make sure that we participate in these community activities, however remote the place you are coming from is. Make sure that you go there and help out, lend your hand by advising. You may not give money, but be present at least, or give them knowledge. Sometimes they want printing, they have documents to print, and they are going to incur expenses. Offer to print them and say, I'll supply this.
Actually, Daisy, allow me to interrupt you there. I think when you talk about communities also, you're encouraging corporate social responsibility in one way or the other. You know, groups come up to help each other. Maybe we're going to fundraise for a road construction, you know, within our communities. Those are social networks. They're going to help our communities as well as helping us get to know each other, like in various ways. And I think at the end of the day, it's still helping us support our nation now at large, you know.
And you see,
Of course, in addition to that, like we said, it begins from the communities, but still, like we are supposed to look at also our focus. What is it that we want to achieve through the network that we have created in our communities? We look at it in a way that it can also help us if we are looking for a job, you're looking for a market, you need guidance on some, you know, there are some areas whereby security is managed online. How? Through the use of WhatsApp. People create WhatsApp groups of different families on a certain village. In case there is maybe a security threat, maybe there is something that has happened in someone's home in terms of like maybe a mistreatment of someone in a home, the use of social network is something that is easily, people can easily get the information very fast so that they can help each other within that vicinity. So it is important. Now I can also add onto that in regards to getting employment. These days things are made a little simpler, only that what especially the youth should do is that they should embrace the use of technology so that they understand how this is done. It is a little linked to that, because if you don't know how to operate maybe a computer, a gadget, you need to learn how to skill yourself and maybe be flexible so that you can learn some of these things. Because if you do not, because for instance, if you cannot use a computer, like you cannot be able to send out an email, you cannot be able, these days employers, what they do is that instead of submitting a CV in hard copy or soft copy, scanned soft copy, they will tell you to send a video. I think Daisy, you know about that.
Yeah.
You have to tell the employer about yourself in a CV form, but now through video recordings. So basically, if you're not flexible to adjust to the changing things and times, and also be willing to accept that you do not know this,
and you learn.
then you'll be able to learn so that you can be able to help yourself and move from one step to another. Because
To a small group, to the big groups, to make presentations on various areas, some of which you have already watched, and many other areas, because we have different expertise. Our numbers are running on the screen. Feel free to always contact us. Now, I think it is this point in time that we need to tell people where to create these social networks. Where do they find these social networks? Someone out is there asking, these guys are talking about creating resourceful networks. Where am I going to find them? I know you guys have already said these things, some of them, but can we recapture them again for them to understand where to find their social networks?
Well, I feel like right from the start, for those who are still in school, you can use that as a platform. You know, you can use school as a source of capturing your social networks. How? Get to know your fellow students, interact with them, get to know your lecturers, your teachers. You know, get to know even the subordinate staff. In one way or the other, you could meet them one day, one time, and you can always go ahead to learn from them.
Okay.
So for now, I would say schools, universities, small institutions, you know, technical institutions, even though you're all doing carpentry, you're doing weaving, you can't know everything as a person solely. So at the end of the day, you will have to learn from the other colleague of yours. So everywhere you are, you can always create a platform. For me, I would suggest schools, institutions, all that.
Of course, the people we meet in those different areas that Kuchu has raised. However, we should emphasize the fact of being resourceful. You much as I know Kuchu, I'll not find her maybe in a certain forum and just bump into her. So we need to also be responsible on how we again relate from the time you met initially to now the continuous relationship that now you've created. Basically, you have to look at the issues. What is it that is going to attract you further to this person you're meeting? And how do you approach them? At what point? Of course, we're talking about first of all, the message you're going to lay out to Kuchu the second time, or this other second person you're meeting, the second, the third, the fourth, and later, then you'll be able to back on that network. It is very important how you communicate, what message you give, how do you do it. We also need to be careful in those aspects. Of course, in addition to that, definitely the social networks, like we said, we have a lot in terms of the WhatsApp groups. I mentioned there are a number of groups. There are so many social media platforms, but you realize even those that create, I think, these social media platforms, you need to be very careful. There are times when you add someone onto a group without even explaining to them the essence of this group. Or you just find yourself you're added onto a group. Really, at times it doesn't make sense. I think it's important that you contact the people that you want to join your group and introduce to them the purpose, why the group. And even then, if the purpose is there, let whatever is being shared be at least in line with what is in line with the purpose of the group. There are times when whatever is posted on the group is just a put off, and you find that after some point in time, someone will have to exit the group. So you find that if you created a group of 10 people, after 2 days you'll have one yourself actually as the administrator, simply because you did not engage the people that you want to be part of this. So a number of other social network groups you may come in and also share much more of those groups that
I think the other way we are going to advise people to find their social networks besides the social media platforms, because I know people out there know all these social media platforms. The LinkedIn that is professional, the Facebook, everything people know. But I think the other place, we've already talked about the social events. We're not going to repeat what they will do there and how they will behave when they meet someone who they think is relevant. Then the other thing that I think we have to talk about is the workplace. A workplace is a place where you will also meet your social network. But how do you behave? These are the senior people in these issues. They are supposed to tell us, how do you behave with these social networks when you meet at the workplace?
of course with the social networks, like I've been mentioning in some of our shows, it is important to identify yourself and understand who you are. So then it will help you to clearly identify the people you are looking out for out there. What is it that you have that maybe you need to build on? Is it maybe if I need a career growth or growth in a certain area? I joined an organization, for instance, maybe as an officer. Am I looking up to maybe being a director, being a commissioner, being a CEO? So then if I have that focus, then I'll be able to identify the network I'm looking out for. If I want to maybe improve on my farming aspects, I'll look out for someone who is good in that area, so that then I'm able to learn from them. I'm able to, if I have any challenges, to inquire how best things are done, so that maybe this can can help me improve in one way or another. Of course, like in employment, we all join employment when we know something, but most of the things actually we learn on job, simply because of maybe the mentorship and the way things are done, company policies here and there, and also you have to find the fact that you have to fit in that environment. You will find a number of things, but usually what I encourage our viewers out there to look out for the good things. Yeah, there are a number of things, a number of people that you meet. Of course, we are all not perfect, but what is it that is good that is with this person? Even when others maybe will mention that so and so is bad in this way, fine. But for you as an individual, you have to look out for the positive thing about this person. Because in any case, you wouldn't, if the person was really bad, you wouldn't have found them in the same organization. So to me, I would like to encourage our viewers, in whatever environment, let it be home, let it be at the workplace, let it be in any social gathering, pick out what is it that is good that you can pick. Especially this will help you after you have identified your potential, what you want to achieve, you know your goals, so that you can clearly identify and define yourself. If you want to be a married person, you know, of course all these things will be determined at a certain point in our lives. For instance, of course, in Uganda here, maybe you're starting to think about marriage for most people right from 20 years up to maybe like 30, especially for women. So if you want to define yourself and you're determined, you say, me, I want to be married, you know, at a certain point in time. So you look out for those people that are in that area. What is it that they are doing? How have they done it? How are they being sustained in that area? And what is it that you can do to help you lead you into being a successful, maybe married woman, a married man? And of course, relatedly, in career development, you join employment, like Kuchu was mentioning, the fact that there is need to be focused. You have to have a timeline and a target. I want to join this employment or this position. I want to work for 3-5 years or 3 years. After 3 years, come what come, you know, rain, sunshine, I must move. So then, are you going to move when you're just seated and you have no other skill you're adding to yourself? So then you have to work towards this, so that at the end of maybe the set target, you're moving from one area to another.
Okay, our dear esteemed viewers, in case you want to sponsor this program, you're always welcome. Our contacts are down there. And as we come to the conclusion of this program, I want to ask Kuchu to tell us those closing remarks about creating resourceful social networks.
Well, one phrase I'll give all the viewers out there is that you should always know, in the Uganda we are, in the world we are in, your network is your net worth.
Thank you very much, our viewers, and always tune in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Our dear viewers, thank you very much for watching in case you have any, you're interested in sponsoring these programs, please don't forget to always contact us on our contacts that are on your screens down there. Don't forget that the person behind these beautiful videos is Urban Imaging Events, that is located on Plaza on Loam Street. The contacts are going to be provided on your screen. Please contact them in case you have any events and you want any video coverages.
Please do not forget to subscribe, follow, like, comment.
Share the link.
Thank you.